Welcome back to the Ambition Over Fear portal. I'm Atlas Opia, and I help people expand their interdimensional knowledge. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing how to do mental alchemy when you're reality shifting. The truth is, reality is very fluid, and whenever you have a pattern of behavior, a way that you view yourself and the world around you, you create a little program of energy that recycles in on itself and reproduces the same energy that is in that particular program. So when you shift realities and you quantum jump, you're deciding to embody a new way of being that is different enough from a way you have been existing in your body as a soul, that you move into a new trajectory of energy, a new pattern of beliefs about yourself and the world around you and what you're capable of doing here. But when you do that, the mind comes in, and a lot of times we can dismiss the mind or look at it as an enemy, because when we're in our higher self, we're living without the programmed information that is in our subconscious mind, that is a collection of the different versions of reality we have embodied. But in this video, if you watch until the end, I'll teach you how to use the mind as a tool that can work with you and not against you. And why, if you are always in your higher self and you're never in your mind or your body because you don't want to meet the friction, how that can create more resistance to where you want to go. And if you're back on this video or you like content about interdimensional wisdom, subscribe to this channel, share it, like, comment down below after this video what has been your experience with the mind and shifting realities. So to get right into it is step one. Step one is realizing that your soul is the universe getting to experience itself in an individualistic manner. So when you can realize that the soul is a way for you to be the entire universe with the identity of your soul. So when you're using your imagination to astral travel and you're visualizing different things in your higher dimensional consciousness and you're allowing yourself to go there, you're truly embodying the entire universe and you're getting to experience it, because whatever you observe, you are. You cannot bring anything in your consciousness if you're not a vibrational match to it. But the mind is how your formless soul can take form in this reincarnation. And the mind is often misunderstood. It is a functionality of this matrix. It allows your soul to create an association to your body and the world around you, so you have a progressive way of existing as the characteristics in your system are built up and healed. It gives you a way to move along a linear path of time. So the mind itself is going to be made with all of the thoughts you have had throughout your life. But it's more about how your emotions have responded to particular stimuli, which is any stimulation you get through your five senses. And then you create a pattern of being that basically coats your past to fit where you're at and the timeline you're in, or the version of life you're in, and then how you see the future compared to where you're at. But reality shifting is deciding that you're a soul before a body. It is allowing yourself to come into the realization that reality is flexible, all the energy you see is just a manifestation of the energy inside of you. And so even though everything seems solid, that truly is how your human self can experience everything in the third dimension. But that is just a result of the energy inside. So you can shift very far from who you think you are and what you think your limitations are, or what you think your potential is. And the more you shift, the more you travel the quantum field and come into a change that is greater than where you're at now. It just requires you to follow the soul, trust the universe, and believe that everything around you is magic, it is consciousness, and you are in front of that performance. You are getting to move consciousness around in the universe. So you lead with the soul and the higher self and the imagination and your intuition, and you decide where you want to go. And then you allow the mind to create a framework around that new reality. You train the mind to almost adapt to this new story, and then the mind will start to build off of the story you're creating by making new neurological pathways. So step 2 is mental alchemy, is being able to take the tool of your mind to create something else. Alchemy itself is taking a pre-existing structure of energy, breaking it down into resources and building blocks, and then creating something more empowering with what you salvaged from that original experience or that original state of energy. So mental alchemy in the mind is understanding how your mind can lead so your soul can follow, so your emotions can follow, and so your body can follow. Because remember, we have 4 realms of energy: your physical energy, your emotional energy, your mental energy, and your spiritual energy. And whenever you're doing a form of alchemy with one of those realms, it's going to allow the other 3 realms of energy to be nurtured, to be managed in a way that is what you're calling for in that present moment. So mental alchemy is allowing your mind to wrap itself around the version of life that you're moving into. As you're developing a new story, you start to allow your mind to react to that new story. You allow your mind to create the template of where you're going, to truly be comfortable with the actions that you're going to have to insert when you're moving forward and you're creating the container of what you're trying to manifest and the reality you're trying to quantum jump into. And the feminine is allowing the information to come in so you can receive it. But before you receive energy, the universe and the quantum field has to know the specific information and details that you're trying to pull in. Okay, so that's where the mind comes in. Now, step 3 of this is realizing how to do the mental alchemy. Now you have an idea of what it is, let's go into how to do it. So, for example, the mental alchemy comes in when you have decided where you are going to shift into. Not what you want to manifest, not what you're trying to create, because want and try signify that there is no end result in getting. It's a frequency where whatever you're trying to bring in is of a higher vibrational match than you are. So it feels like you're chasing something but not getting. So you decide what is important to you in life. And I always say pick 3 things that are important to you in life, or 4 or 5, and then create a life where you feel in this example an activity that anything is possible because reality exists outside of your programmed mind and outside of your limitations. And then create and write a story or imagine this reality where a version of you is already experiencing what you're trying to tap into. This allows your higher self to go beyond the programmed mind and the external world, which is a representation of the energy that has already been in your system. So you have to be able to go beyond what your senses are picking up on, because that is just a result of the past. And then in that moment, you truly decide to psychically tap into a parallel reality, which is a dimension that exists and has been created the minute you have had the thought and feeling of what it would be like to embody this new reality. And then you allow your mind to slowly cement how things are going to happen. You allow your mind to merge with this new story you're creating and the 4 or 5 things that are going to show up as a result of the areas of life that you find important. And when you're doing that, the important thing is you not only imagine that your mind is altering, you're imagining that you're taking your consciousness and you're moving it into a parallel reality where you see the version of yourself experiencing all of your desires, and then you move it into that mind. And from the physical realm, it doesn't seem possible, but from the metaphysical realm, that is allowing your consciousness and your soul to navigate the different layers that exist on Earth. It's allowing your soul to tap into the reality that when you're examining something, there is multiple layers of energy that have to come together for that thing to happen. When you're looking at something, that thing exists from multiple angles too. So you can look at this reincarnation and realize there is multiple layers that you can slide into where your experience is going to be different on this planet. And so you allow your mind really to encompass that reality, where you start thinking like the version of yourself you're wanting to shift into. You start understanding that this is your new reality. And when old timelines come up, when old versions of yourself from the past try to stop this from being possible because you have 2 different versions of yourself competing to survive, the one you're moving into and the one that has come up to heal, as you're moving into this new you with these new actions. When that happens, it's very important to take the mind and then allow it to acknowledge your emotions, but then surf right above it. So then you can look at that old version of yourself as if you're sitting across from it having a conversation, and you say, I understand why you feel the way you do, old version of me. Because certain things have happened that make you believe that certain things are possible. And you have the right to think like that. When you allow your mind and the old templates of energy in your system to breathe and be acknowledged, they can feel as if their presence is seen by you, and then they can move on. It could just be that an old part of your story you're neglecting, and when you actually allow it to be a part of the story, it can be a chapter that can just be there as you move on to the next chapter. It's fully written now because you're acknowledging its presence. Now, step 4 in doing mental alchemy to reality shift. When you're moving into a new parallel reality, when you're removing the conceptual idea that you live and die on earth and you are just a human, you begin to realize that your soul can interface with this matrix in an infinite amount of ways. So you can interface with this matrix, with this new version of life you're wanting to experience. And then your emotions will come up sometimes in fear, in uncertainty, in a level of depression, because maybe you're moving so quickly that the old parts of you are feeling as if they're being aired for the first time, and there's a lot of energy you're activating and moving through your system to heal. In that moment, you allow your mind to be the parent to the child that is your emotions. Now, I want to tell you, this mechanism and technique is valid when you're doing mental alchemy. When you feel as if your emotions are leading the way and your days are progressing in imbalance and unpredictability. There are times when you can do emotional alchemy when you feel as if you're not connecting to the world around you. And then your emotions are the parent and your mind is the child. But in this situation, the mind is the dominant force and the emotions are the submissive. You allow the mind to soothe the emotions by telling it to not change. So when you're feeling fear, you can just allow it to be there, but then you go into your mind and you remember to tap into the mind of the parallel reality you're moving into, and you reestablish that structure of who you are, what are your characteristics, how are you acting in this new version of yourself, and how solidified are you in that state. And then with your body too, your body can feel tired at times when you're changing because it is filled with older energy and it may be in resistance. And then there can be kind of a struggle in the body, but the mind goes in and goes, okay, body, I'm going to set a template of action for you to endure. I'm going to set a path forward, which is body, we're going to shift into the DNA and subatomic particles of this reality and new way of living we're moving into. And the mind also creates a template for the soul. Alchemy is using something as a catalyst to create something else. It is you wanting something and then you realizing that you can use the pre-existing energy or older versions of consciousness that have been there throughout your life to assist you in where you're going. So you can create a template. You can decide, this is how I'm going to interface with reality. You tell the mind, you tell the body, you tell the emotions, I am now this person that has accomplished A, B, and C and is experiencing A, B, and C. And then you say, soul, flow through. Higher self, flow through. Spirit guides, flow through the template of reality that my mind is creating and is trying to establish itself in. Well, thank you guys for being a part of this video. I make videos every Tuesday and Thursday. Definitely subscribe and tap into this portal that we're all being a part of. Spirituality is changing. It is no longer about just removing the blockades in your life and just realizing that you're not a body or an identity. It is about letting go of the limited construct of self, being the entire universe, remembering the powers of your soul and the different reincarnations you've had, and then applying that back into the matrix. And now you realize you have all these powers and tools. Now how can you get to where you want to go more effectively? And if you're an empath or a starseed or an alchemist and you have had an awakening or you're moving towards one and you realize that your mind may not be fully connected to the power of your soul and you consistently shift between Earth and the simulation that's going on here and the universe and your infinite self, and you feel torn between the two, it's time for spiritual integration, and that is what I'm offering in my galactic quantum coaching. I've channeled a collection of skills that are different actions you can perform in the quantum field. And when I'm able to express to you those actions in a way your mind can interpret it, now your mind in this human body can perform the work you're supposed to do in the higher dimensions. All right, talk to you guys soon, and remember, you are exactly where you need to be. Let go, release the pressure, and decide the path forward, and allow the soul to break free of any limitations you think exist, and allow the mind to create a template of where you're going. So then you can allow that to lead the emotions and the body and the soul. And you perform mental alchemy when you feel as if you are too much in your feminine energy, which is allowing yourself to be so let go and free that you feel as if there is no control to what you're creating in your future. All right, talk to you guys soon. Bye.